Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A. We got more snow. It's now a winter wonderland. It's Thanksgiving weekend. I've been putting up my Christmas tree. Snowed all day long yesterday. I don't know how many inches. 4 to 6 was forecast, and I'd say we got somewhere in there, in that range. Hasn't gotten quite as cold as they predicted yet, thankfully. But we're supposed to be down into the teens and single digits and even below zero maybe later this week. But now everything has a nice layer of insulation on it for winter. And I don't have to water all my plantings, thankfully. So we'll just walk out here and see what looks nice with snow on it. Most stuff does. Love this hydrangea here. This is the Limelight Prime. It's a younger specimen, so it's still pretty small. The Troutman blue juniper there. Of course, evergreens always look gorgeous with snow on the branches. Really pretty. I have salvia left over, an annual salvia that does not come back for me. Even the phlox blooms. Like the seed heads, the spent bloom heads look really pretty here. Up against the snow, that texture. I usually do leave those like support rings up, those green ones that I have here. That way I don't have to keep putting them out every spring. Limelight, little lime hydrangea here. Got pretty darn weighed down. It's big, huge branches. I did not get to put out leaf mulch. I spent Thanksgiving afternoon, after dinner, night, I guess, after we got home. Look at the sedum here. That's a ground cover sedum. Or no, that's that Proven Winners one. The ground cover one is covered. Lemon jade sedum. Dang, look how big these bunches are. Like that big hunk of snow on those big blooms combined with other plants. I spent all evening, I turned on all the lights and just worked in the dark for about 3 hours, got all of my big, huge pots stored. I wanted to do that before this big snow came because I didn't want to be having to do that on Saturday morning while it was snowing. And I'm very glad I did. Yeah. This is good though. Here's another sedum. Beautiful. This is Anna's Magic Ball. Arborvitae, by the way. Can't really even see it anymore. I don't even know if last year we really even got this much snow at one time. Definitely not the year before. But yeah, this, as we kind of go through freeze thaw, sort of it'll melt in and trickle in and into the soil and feed the roots of all the dormant plants slowly over winter, as it should. The echinacea seed heads I'm looking at now, they kind of had snow like driven into the, you can see all the little spikes from the seed heads poking through. Maybe, hopefully you can see that. Looks cool. Still the pretty red berries hanging on to the barberry there. Looks beautiful against the white snow, as does the strawberry daiquiri dogwood. You can see how wild those branches have gotten. That one I'll be trimming back pretty hard this spring, both dogwoods. North Pole arborvitae and firelight hydrangeas with their darker brown dried blooms. And then we looked at the Millennium Allium last week. Little snow caps on those seed heads. There's bee balm right behind that, kind of same thing. This is why I leave up all the seed heads, because it looks so pretty. Another lacy looking blooms here on the Drops of Jupiter, ornamental oregano. Sort of delicate looking texture sticking out of the snow. These got pretty weighed down. I don't remember if they bounce back up when the snow melts. I mean, I'd be happy. This is like a good amount of snow to really insulate things well for winter. Keeps the rabbits and critters from digging. I don't know about moles. Are they still active around in the winter? I'll have to look that up. Whatever the heck's going on with our new residents here, the moles. But yeah. I like that it's kind of climbing up. If we got more, this is what I want on the side of the garden beds. These are the Vigo raised beds, just the classic ones in 17-inch tall height. My last raised beds were about 12 inches tall or so. So they sat much lower and got much better insulation from the snow, because they were short enough that snow cover kind of came all the way up the sides. So my garlic crops did really well over winter. They didn't freeze out in those beds. But the last 2 years, and we've even had mild winters, I haven't had a whole lot of luck with garlic. I did a couple years ago, the garlic that I planted in the center of the bed, but last year was really bad because it got much colder also without snow, which was the big difference. So the more snow pile we can get around this, the better off we are, the more insulated they are. Sorry, my phone just started ringing. Oh, look, it's spam. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you, spam. Potential spam. Strawberries, too. I'm not sure. This is the first year I'll have them in the raised bed, so we'll see how they do for this winter. And I know every winter is a little bit different. That North Pole arborvitae that I healed in looks really pretty. Adds some winter interest to this raised bed for sure. You can see this little coreopsis sticking out in a field of white here. We do still put scraps in the compost bins in the wintertime. Just takes some work sometimes to get them unfrozen. Birds are going crazy. The icicles on the garage look really pretty. I don't think we have ice dams. When we've done roof raking, it doesn't appear to be ice dams. Another angle of that beautiful sedum upright. Okay, what are you freaking out about, birds? And the bench looks so beautiful over there too. Swing back around, hopefully not make you dizzy. I leave this up, because it's just too heavy and hard to store and get set up, but also it looks cute. And that's just the bench from Lowe's, so it's not hugely expensive. If I had spent a pretty penny on it, I would probably cover it with something, a more expensive one, but that one was not. Good snow cover on my shrub rose. Snow cover protects it from bunnies chewing. As I've said before, I don't really have deer issues. We're too far into the city, I think. Even though there's a walking trail that does have deer, I think they just don't go into the neighborhoods. There's too much commotion, too many houses close together. They get too scared. Our patio furniture stays up. I like looking at this lawn chair with snow on it. It looks pretty. And my 2 new evergreens. Well, I've got that one I planted last summer, DeGroot Spire. It's not looking super great in the middle. We'll see how it does next year. I may be replacing that, and if I do, I'll shuffle some things around a little bit. We've got, what is that, Blue Arrow, I think, is that variety of juniper that I just planted this summer, or spring, summer, whatever. I'm excited to see that one mature. It stays very narrow and upright, but nice icy blue leaves. And then behind that is another North Pole arborvitae, also planted this summer. Oh my goodness, you guys. Is there a predator? There are lots of predators. Tree wrap holding up still. I wouldn't expect it not to, but I have not. Now the base of it is nice and covered to protect it from rabbits, but if I see any activity around there, like digging or we get some snow melt, we could easily, even this month or in a few weeks, warm up again and have the snow melt away in December. That would not be uncommon, but if that happens, I will come out and put chicken wire or hardware cloth around it just to protect the base from animal damage. And clematis, of course, completely dormant. And this is Jack Manii, so that gets cut back hard in the spring. But when I cleared this, I kind of like these Lophos, like seed pods, spent blooms. That lophos that I had in the hanging basket climbed all over this clematis, and I kind of like how it looks mingled over the trellis. And then that birdhouse, I don't think anything uses it. That was one of the ones that was covered in seed, but it's mainly millet on those like novelty birdhouse. I think I got it for like $4 and thought it was cute, so I put it up. But I don't think the birds really like that kind of seed very much. But you know, it's just there. And then this is nesting material, and they had been using that. I'm guessing squirrels use it too. But that I think my mom put up this spring, and they have been harvesting that for their nests. I see bits of it around the yard. These mature arbs are always really pretty as well in the snow. Such a nice backdrop for the garden to have mature tall evergreens like that. Got the Bobo hydrangeas. For me, these blooms stay smaller and a little more petite flowers, a little more lacy look. They would get bigger, I think, in more sun and more water getting to them. And I like how the leaves of the honeysuckle there kind of catch the snow. So that'll all be bare pretty much by spring, but as they kind of slowly fall off. But they do look pretty. We've got more sedum over here, and then the tater tot arborvitae. Cats have been using our 2 shelters. Oh, there goes Mama now. You can see how I stacked the lawn furniture up to allow space for piling snow and clearing this. We don't need to keep the patio cleared all the way. I mean, this year we will create a path going to the cat shelters, but we clear it off as best we can, because when we do get years with really heavy snow, we kind of have to slowly take over this, you know, so the snow kind of creeps back up towards the driveway as the year goes on those snowy winters, so it makes it a lot easier to clear stuff away. And you can see no more containers. This is a plastic pot that was like inserted in, so I'll do something with that. Just chuck it in the garage or something. I should have opened the shed to show you. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, you can see how like we're just so close to the neighbors. Luckily, we have chain link, and that's not like a walking surface. They don't access that part of their yard, so we can blow snow kind of through the fence, over the fence, into their backyard from this half of the driveway. And then kind of everything in front of the door and the garbage cans gets piled up over here. And then the rest of it from back here, we kind of shove all the way into the backyard. And like I said, when these piles get huge, we kind of have to take over more and more of the patio with the snow. So walk up front real quick. Oh, try not to slip and fall. Luckily, most of the ice that hit us in the first storm melted before the snow hit, but you know how it goes. Stuff gets icy just from freeze thaw. Beautiful texture of the Russian sage and the sedum there sticking up from the snow. I love all the mature evergreens, the yews over here. These sometimes get really weighted down as well, but the snow protects them from winter burn. So, and they've always bounced back up. I don't know if they have, what's it called, like memory wood or something in their branches that allows them to bounce back up when they get weighed down from snow. The boulevard trees are getting much bigger now. That one's growing pretty fast. It's a Valley Forge elm, which I'm not super excited about elm seeds, but I didn't choose it. That was the city, so just have to deal with it. Glad to have boulevard trees. And this is what the boxwoods do. And they'll split open and they'll be fine every spring. They get snow piled on them, both from snowfall and from clearing the sidewalk in the front stoop here. Especially if it's a lot of snow and we have to blow it off to the side. But they always just bounce right back, so no problem. I'm not going to walk across the yard, but the snow's kind of deep. But you can kind of see like the nice textures from some of the perennials there, the iris and the rudbeckia, the annuals, of course the shrubs. Then there's a little tuft of Amsonia kind of back there. More shrubs on that side. So anyway, beautiful winter scene. And let's see, I think I will go around the smoke bush tree. I'll show you two beautiful multi-trunk. Normally, you can tell the alive branches from the ones that were suffering because the diseased ones died early and they're holding on to their leaves, versus the alive branches turned color and dropped their leaves like they naturally do in the fall. So that's a lot of potentially diseased branches. We'll see what happens next year. That would really be a bummer to lose that tree. But here, I'll walk across this way. We'll go to the back. Close up of the evergreens. Okay, I opened up the shed and the garage. I can show you how I store my perennials and all my big containers. So, and this is slightly more cleanup needed, but I mean, this is our storage space for winter. I don't need to access any of this till spring. Pulled out my seed starting thing. So I've got a row of containers under the shelves, the big ones, another row of containers here in front, and then I just use trays and I stack them up. These got watered by snow when we had our first storm, and it's just kind of slowly melting and percolating in. This rosemary won't survive out here for the winter. I'm debating, I think I might just bring it to work and give it away because I have so much frozen rosemary from last year. And I have enough things to look after this winter, but indoors. But yeah, this is where I have one shrub down there, a hydrangea, and the rest are perennials. Just hanging out. This Dusty Miller is an annual. Probably won't survive out here. I haven't had it survive in the shed, only the porch, which I think is a little bit warmer. But this is how they'll be until spring, and I'll come out here just a little bit of water, maybe once a month. Not much. I have killed things by overwatering. All my smaller, oh, there goes Mama. All my smaller pots fit on these shelves. She's going to try and hunt back here, I bet. And then you can kind of see my pots in front of my car. We've got the pedestals, the bird baths. I showed these. These are more the medium-sized containers. These are empty of soil before I put them up here. The large containers keep the soil inside. Yeah, I talked about kind of the color theme. I kind of stick to neutrals, and you can see kind of the blue, green, teal color family, some beige, some cream. That way they all kind of coordinate when I put them out. And then here are the rest of the big containers. So they're stacked 2 or 3 high, and they all keep the soil in them. The ones that I can't lift, obviously, stay on the bottom level, and the ones that I can get stacked up. So, Mama cat's sniffing. Oh boy. And then all my concrete pieces come back here. They were all covered in snow, but that'll melt and dry eventually and evaporate. Stays very, very dry in the wintertime. If you're from the upper Midwest, you know how horribly dry it is in winter too. Just opposite extremes here. So that's how I store everything. And most of these, like some of the annuals will stay in there, and they won't. I would be shocked if any of those annuals survived that are in these containers. I've never had that happen before. You know, they're not dead yet, but once we get down to sub-zeros, this is not a heated garage, and it is not attached. So they will perish, and then I'll just clean out the last of these pots in the spring when I put them out for planting. So I'll leave it at that. Oh, and I do have, these are my giant bags of shredded leaves. I have 4 of those from my aunt's house to use for my mulch for next year. So yeah, that's all. I'll let you go. I hope you all had a great holiday, and looking forward to Christmas or whatever you celebrate, I guess, or just the month of December, the end of the year and the new year. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.